I want to introduce to you Mina Chang, who is a game changer in education and international humanitarian aid throughout the world. She is someone who's going to have a major impact on DFW and in Texas as a whole. And she is a very good friend of mine and someone who I respect dearly. So I want to welcome you all, Ms. Mina Chang, CEO of Linking the World.
So nice to see such friendly, beautiful faces. I'm just so touched by some of the people that have traveled so far to be here for Linking the World and for me tonight. So thank you so much. I'm humbled and I'm honored to be here, and I promise to do my best to not put you to sleep. I think it's the mark of a good speaker. Don't put the audience to sleep. I'm thrilled to be here to speak a bit about Linking the World and YTEXAS. But before we get into all that, let's get to the heart of things. This is a room full of CEOs, and my question to you is, why do we do what we do? I believe we all answered a calling, a stirring in our heart, and it's all unique for each of us. But it's what guides us and inspires us through times of growth and through times of challenge. And it is the why we do what we do. And as CEO of an international humanitarian aid group, I feel it's important to share with you what that stirring in my heart is for me. The reason that I do what I do is that as we tackle these problems of poverty and suffering and injustice, I cannot just see them as issues, because I remember faces. All of the friendships that I had growing up were the children going through programs like this. I was reminded at a very young age that other than circumstances of birth, very little separates us. And so that's why, because it could have been me. So a little background, I think you'll see my parents here somewhere. I usually say, just look at the Asians and you'll know which one's my parents, but some friends here. I grew up as the daughter of Salvation Army commanding officers and grew up with this type of work. And I also have two brothers. They both are Marines and served multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and even to this day continue working for the Department of Defense. So between my parents and my brothers, it was inevitable. It's in my DNA to protect and to serve. Could have been a police officer. As I went on to study development and the power dynamics that lead to conflict in the world, I realized that poverty plays a crucial role in affecting our national security and protecting our economic interests. I also saw the opportunity in linking worlds. So what is Linking the World? We were founded in 1997, and today we work in the United States and in 40 other countries around the world. We work as an NGO. So we're not a typical charity with a handout. Rather, we work to lend a hand up with a clear understanding of what it takes to break cycles of generational poverty. So first, we meet immediate needs through humanitarian aid and disaster response. Then, we implement sustainable solutions through our educational initiatives at all of our schools and orphanages abroad. We're also official partners of the US military in a program of the Department of Defense called Operation Handclasp. So that's a very broad overview, but remember, as we're tackling these problems, we are reminded of the very real faces of the people whose lives depend on our work. It was just a few weeks ago that I was visiting our schools and orphanages in Haiti and in the Dominican, and we arrived with fresh uniforms, supplies, and materials. And I wish you could have all been there to see the look in the children's eyes and to feel the pride that radiates from their being when they attend school. I want to introduce you to Edouard. Edouard is 7 years old, and he's new. During lunch, while I was meeting some of the students, I noticed that while all the other kids were inhaling their lunch, he was sitting off to the side quietly and carefully wrapping a piece of bread into his shirt. As I got on my knees to get to his level and look into his eyes, I asked him, I said, Edouard, why aren't you eating? Aren't you hungry? And he looked at me with this look of fear and embarrassment and said, I need to take this to my mom. It was in that moment that the magnitude of the important work being done was crystallized, because people are starving. People are starving for an opportunity and for a chance. And what we are doing at Linking the World is we are feeding people, not only with food, but with that chance, with education, and we are nourishing with hope. So as our organization grew and our efforts expanded, we moved our offices from Pretoria, South Africa, and Seoul, South Korea, to Dallas, Texas. And I knew Dallas would be the perfect place to lead the organization because it's made up of hardworking, passionate people who know how to get things done and who have hearts the size of this great Lone Star State, believing in helping each other and in philanthropy. When I first moved to Texas, though, I imagined that I'd be surrounded by a bunch of cowboys. And it didn't take long, though, to realize that, thankfully, I am surrounded by cowboys. You see, cowboys are pioneers. Cowboys are leaders. And like you, they're not afraid to go it alone, but they watch out for each other. And even historically, they were beacons of hope. You are all beacons of hope within your companies, for your employees, your hope for your customer, and your hope for this community. And the children that we build up through our programs are pioneers for their families and become beacons of hope for their community. And so it's that cowboy culture that has had everything to do with the success at Linking the World. I'm proud to call Texas home, and even when I'm traveling abroad, people still ask me, what are you, where are you from? And I usually say, oh, I'm Asian American. And now I say, I am Texan American. Sometimes I stop short of calling myself a cowgirl. Even when I look at our flag, I am reminded of why Texas. The Lone Star represents the symbol of unity. It signifies the spirit that we share in our state of sticking together. And as the Lone Star reminds us that we are in this together, companies here innately weave a strong set of principles into its DNA, looking for ways to make a difference. They integrate values into business plans, and it's that value of reinvesting into the community. And it's also charging the way of the next phase of global philanthropy. And that's what we're doing in Texas. So I want to brief you quickly on a program that we're doing in Texas. It's called the Global Social Leadership Program. It is a Linking the World course that children take here in public schools. Here, the campuses are paired with an international campus abroad, and that campus is also taking the course alongside them. It's a class component with a take action thesis where the students put into practice what they're learning in order to make our city stronger. So with this program, we are truly linking worlds. Imagine our children in Texas, from a very young age, thinking globally, understanding what it takes to operate and navigate as a leader on a global scale. I believe that's quite powerful, and you're going to be hearing about this very soon. We're already working with the TEA, which is the Texas Education Agency, as they've approved this as credit towards graduation, so principals are excited. They're as passionate about this program as we are, and I believe we have two of those principals here with us today, Ms. Anna Brining and Rachel Moon. If you would just raise your hand quickly so we can just thank you for your commitment. Thank you. We've learned a lot through our research and through research done through UNICEF that through service learning, children experience the value in building friendships now. They understand the value in being active global citizens and contributing to world peace. I know it sounds utopian, but it's quite pragmatic. The value of building friendships now rather than fighting and funding wars later. This is all built on impressive technology, and it's taking off like wildfire. We're very excited, but it was also a reality check of where we need to be. It's time to check back into our why. Is our why compelling enough, important enough to carry us through this time of incredible growth expansion, and even through times of challenge. I wasn't sure if I'd make it to be here with you tonight, because when I first accepted this invitation to speak, I had no idea that life would throw me the challenge that I'm now facing. I'll never forget the words. I was sitting with my sister. The tumor in the left parietal frontal lobe of your brain is malignant. You have brain cancer. The news struck me to the core. As a mother, as a leader, I had to become very clear with who I am and what I stand for. And I am in the fight of my life. But as leaders, you all understand that challenges do not discriminate. It's not going to come back at a better time. And as I battle this, I now have a body that's constantly being pricked and tested, burned with chemicals as I take on radiation and chemotherapy. But throughout this time, I never wondered, I know better than to think, why me? But I did think, why now? We are building such momentum. Why now? But I realized that the crisis happening in my body is the very same crisis of suffering, injustice, and poverty in the world. It's not happening later. It's happening now. And how are we, as community leaders, facing this challenge for our children, for our community? We know that it's how we rise to these challenges that define who we are. My partner, Carl, reminded me of a powerful letter that Dr. Martin Luther King wrote to the elders while in prison. And during the past few weeks, being stuck in bed, and I know we all share a workaholic nature, so you can empathize that being stuck in bed the past few weeks, I felt like I was in prison. And when I thought of even missing this opportunity of seeing you, this fire ignited. Because knowing that many of you would show up, there was no way I was not going to show up. And so here I am, delivering my version of that concept, the fierce urgency of now. Many of you in this room, you showed up and walked alongside me and subsequently to the mission of the organization I am proud to be CEO of. Ed, I want you to know that I am privileged to be a part of CEOLINK, a group of CEOs that see the bigger picture and come from abundance and look for ways to share it with others. We need leaders like you. The value of being a part of this network goes far deeper and is much richer than even things like what CEOLINK did for us in connecting us with Google for our GSL technology or even with the governor's office. The encouragement and the guidance that CEOs, specifically in this room, have shown is proof of our nature. I believe that we are together creating a lasting gift for generations to come because the ripple effects of our shared success created in Texas will resonate around the world and lift others up right along with us. Because you were there, we never lost momentum. Our fire just grew hotter. As a matter of fact, our executive director, Lauren Sanderson, is on a plane right now, as scheduled, to our schools and orphanages in Haiti. And this global social leadership program is a game changer. Our community is the direct beneficiary of this collaboration. So I'm looking forward to building more partnerships because it's in those connections and it's in serving others that bring joy and fulfillment in life. If this has taught me anything so far, it's about what it means to enjoy the journey. I know sometimes being a pioneer, it can feel lonely at times. And so I'd like to ask a favor of you. Look around this room. I want you to take this in and drop into your heart. Because the connections and the values we share here, we carry forward, impacting our families, our businesses, and our world. This is the why we are all here today. This is why I am here. And this is YTEXAS. So thank you. Thank you for all being here today.
I'm speechless, and Mina, that was incredible and inspirational and much appreciated. You know, we live in a utopia here in Texas, and it takes a cowboy or cowgirl like Mina that's able to have a global perspective and be able to see and feel and get down eye to eye with kids like that in third world countries and come back as a missionary of goodwill with a military background. His brothers have protected our freedoms to the Salvation Army. Mother Teresa's got nothing on you, Mina, and our heartfelt thanks. And we can do something, you know. We're blessed in the greatest country and really the history of mankind, if you think about it. And you're right, Mina. We have the means. We have the global vision because we are a global city and a global state. We've got the ties, and I don't care if you're, you know, someone that's, you know, a small businessman that is, you know, working your butt off to make ends meet, family-owned, or you're in charge of one of these high-rises. We can do something. And so your message really touched me. And on behalf of Ed and all of us here at CEOLINK, it's an honor and a privilege, and I'm going to look forward to knowing how I can help. So thank you, Mina.